Morning all, how are we all doing? Happy Monday. Another week. How you doing? Morning Peter, Danny, Kennelly, Monkey, Paolo, Virginia, Christian, David, how we doing? XR update.news. Oi. White geezer. Morning Martin, Tom, John. Great love, immortal, venerable. Morning. Interesting name. Morning Zhao. Zhao, Jew, did I say your name? Sorry. How are we doing? So, another week. Bit of a funny week this week. So, we're getting to the end of August, which is good. Hopefully the market will actually liven up now. Morning, Andres. So, we'll quickly start off with this week's news. Have a rundown of what we've got and when. I haven't actually had a scan through Bank of Canada interest rate 3.45. Bank of Canada interest rate. What? Oh, their forecast, right? Sorry. Yeah, so I'm just going to have a quick whiz through the news first, just to see if there's anything exciting from Japan mainly. North Korea's nuclear threat is becoming even larger. That's nothing to do with FX. Yeah. Nothing exciting. Right, so there's no news over the weekend, which is good. Morning, everybody else. Francisco, Garth. So today, no news. Tomorrow, no news. First news we have is Wednesday, and it is all day. So Wednesday is PMI day. So we get the PMI figures for everybody, basically. So it all kicks off basically 15 minutes after the Frankfurt Open on Wednesday. So we've got the French and then the German. These two basically affect the euro. The euro is basically an amalgamation. So by the time we've got these two, we know what this is. So you don't need to worry about that one. We've got the pound at 9:30. And then 2:45 in the afternoon, 15 minutes after market, we've got the US. So dodgy opens that day. It's going to be quite a tricky day to trade on Wednesday if you're doing the opening range breakouts or trading indices. Thursday, we've got US dollar unemployment claims, which doesn't tend to do an awful lot. And we've got Powell speaking now when the sentiment is released on Friday. And Lagarde. In the evening, though, because it's Jackson Hole. So the only real impact news we've got this week is Wednesday. Everything else this week is just business as usual. So nothing particularly exciting this week news-wise. So it would just be normal market movement this week. So we just need to see where the market goes and what it decides to do. But the only day we've got actual business happening is on Wednesday. So overnight, we've had some movement in the Aussie New Zealand. By the looks of things, that's not really movement, is it? Blimey, what was that? What that was? Not really movement, is it? That's more of just a broker candle, really, on that Aussie New Zealand. Just a broker candle, basically. So, although that is an ADR, it's not. I wouldn't really say that is an ADR. They basically gapped down over half an ADR. So I'd ignore that Aussie New Zealand today. That's not really anything. Obviously, there's nothing on the weeklies. The monthlies we've already looked at last week. So there's nothing to look at on ADRs. I've got 3 minutes to the open. RSIs, totally flat. So I've switched back to the 4-hour and 1-hour RSIs. So these are all 4-hour RSIs. These are all the hourly RSIs on the 21 and the 14. So there's nothing to look at on the RSIs today. We've got 2 to look at on the 14. So I might as well just go through every pair again. So that's what I'm going to do this morning after the open. So I'm going to whiz through, have an analysis of everything, see if there's any good support resistance plays coming up. And just have a look at where everything's gone, really. DAX today, we've got a gap down fill. So we closed there, big end of session candle on Friday. We had a small gap down, which is filled. So this could basically go anywhere it likes today. There's no bias from a gap fill perspective. From the higher time frame perspective, however, we've got this whacking great gap fill in play on the DAX to the upside. So was looking for a gap fill play that week, all of last week, and which is here, sorry, that's all of last week. Yeah, and still, so long bias. If I can get a long on my other account and hold it, that's a really, really nice big move. So if you look at where we are at the minute, we had a very nice kind of V-shaped recovery on Friday. We had a big drop down, and then it rallied hard back up again. So this could well be the low. This is a previous level. Yeah, so this is monthly low. So basically we hit the monthly low, limit orders triggered and bounced on Friday. So it's a beautiful double bottom monthly level bounce. So that could be basically where we're going to bounce from today. And just basically, if we do pull down today, hopefully try and put that W pattern, get that reversal on the hourly chart. So there's a lovely risk reward trade of about 3 or 4R there. If you literally just hit the long button now, stop under that low, you've got 4R. So potentially good looking long play on the DAX, but we'll see where it goes. Okay, so we've got 4 seconds to the open. There we go. Woof, that was quick. There we go. So that gapped down, managed to get that sell on just about. That triggered way after the market opened though. So so I got short on the DAX. Excuse me. So this low here, downside today, that's obviously the downside danger today. Is a double bottom bounce. Upside, obviously we've got gap fill. So absolutely anywhere to the upside we can go today. Sky's the limit basically. So ADR is all the way up here. So we've got yesterday's high, or Friday's high rather, which is there. And then previous day's high all the way up there on Thursday. So that's 125 ADR. So upside wise, I'd be looking at some kind of reaction at the high from Friday. And then obviously see if we can get a further run, but we've got ADR in between the 2 daily highs. So see where we go, but there's no volume so far this morning, much. So quick rally to the downside, pushing back up inside the range at the minute. See where we go. Morning, Evans. This is the last live room for a week. So I'm off next week. And then back the week after, beginning of September. So I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. Morning and afternoon session, but not next week. Wow, look at this volume. So exciting this morning. That doesn't look like it's going anywhere, does it? Thinking about it. So there's your 15-minute pre-market. Obviously, we gapped down ever so slightly. So by the time the EA managed to trigger, the market had already moved. Yeah, so there's your 15-minute. That's your 5-minute. So 5-minute is a whipsaw. Looks like it might try and get out the highs there as well. I think I've probably just been hedged. Quite. It's going to. So hedged today by the looks of things. So need to wait and see where the market goes today. No, just thinking about it. Not sure what it wants to do today, is it? There we go, hedged. Right, so I'm hedged both directions, so I'll just wait for this to play out today and see where we go. So ideal today would be nice big drop back down into this area here. Take the short off down there and then hope we get a rally back up to get out of the long, but we'll see. So hedged in at $1,000 at the minute. Right, let's have a look at the FX pairs today, see where we are. So positions I've got on, obviously managed to bank 0.5% on Friday. This month's a write-off, basically. It's going to be, well, you can see it's a 2% month. It's just crap. So can't get any profit on at the minute because nothing's moving. Everything is literally just range bound. I was too slow to react this month. Should have been taking stuff off way earlier, but you never know. So by the time you've identified it is going to be one of those quiet summer months, it's too late. You've missed it. Missed the opportunity for all the range bound opportunities. So I've banked bits and pieces, but just keeping on top of the drawdown control at the moment. So Friday, I banked US dollar CAD drawdown control twice. So 2 drawdown controls on initial position and second position. I've got 3 on that at the minute. 125 ADR. You know, we're just not getting basically an ADR move. Nothing's moving in ADR. The ADR is just not happening at the minute, is it? So it will, just waiting for something to move, basically. So a couple of drawdown controls on the US dollar CAD. Swiss yen, that was a nice straight in, straight out, 2 positions, in, out, done. Pound yen closed out on Friday as well. So that was a straight in, straight out, job done there. That was the Thursday morning entry, which I took off Friday afternoon. So this is what I was talking about, banking constantly, just in case we go into a range or it goes into another rally. I can add that position back on and take it off twice to make twice as much money. But still got those 3 on as a short within an ADR. Just need an ADR move. And Euro odd I took off as well, and Aussie US. Is that the same day? Yeah, no, that was the day before. Sorry. So yeah, so that's what I banked on Friday, 0.5%. Couple of drawdown controls, couple banked. Same old at the minute. Broken up to the upside. So upside potential on this. So yesterday's high obviously is there. We need to watch yesterday's high. That's 3R to the upside from that range, that 5-minute range that I've taken today. We've got a potential resistance here. So that area there, which is this propulsion gap. And obviously the high from yesterday. I don't think there's going to be a lot of limit orders sitting there. Maybe any bears in the market at the moment will be looking to sell the highs of the previous days. So there will be some limit orders there. I wouldn't imagine there's a massive volume because basically on Friday, market sort of pushed. Sorry, that's Thursday, isn't it? Sorry, hang on one sec. Where are we? 19th. Sorry, 18th. Yeah, Thursday morning. So yeah, sorry, Friday morning. So yeah, market pushed up immediately at the open and then absolutely tanked and then came back, obviously, and did that nice little V shape that we looked at earlier. So the fact that we just kind of at the open collapsed and didn't get anywhere, I doubt very much whether there's going to be a lot to retest that area. So I suspect this is probably where we're going to find our first lot of resistance today, up in that propulsion gap. So I'll be looking to take off at 5R on the longs, hoping that we get a bounce off of there and then exit the short positions from the bounce, but we'll see. But that, obviously, if we get all the way up to there and I can get that profit off, we're very close to ADR. If we get to ADR, we're probably going to pull back anyway. So should be a fairly easy exit. But we will see. Did 10% on Friday on the support resistance account. I got this Aussie add-on, which was basically a short from these lows. So basically we hit that, push down. I took that second leg expecting it to drop and come and retest, and all we did basically was go sideways. So I don't like this trade as much as I did on Friday. What I might just do on it is reduce the risk down quite dramatically. So $159. So I'm just going to put period separators on in here for some reason. So I'm just going to put the stop above Asia's high today. So either I want this to move today and get target. If it doesn't move today, I don't want to be sitting in it. I'd rather just free up the liquidity. So I'll get out with a small loss on it, or we'll get down and get that target done. So we'll see. But I'll look for some support resistance bounces anyway today. We'll see if we can find anything exciting. Right. Oops, wrong one. So I'm going to go through all the pairs. Obviously, if there's anything you want to look at in detail, let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to scan through everything, see if we've got any decent support resistance plays coming up that I can get into today. There's obviously no RSI extensions, no ADR extensions to look at. We know we're range bound. Everything is completely sideways at the moment, or grinding really, really, really slowly in one direction. So there's no real decent position trading opportunities, because obviously everything that we've got on at the moment, or I've got on at the moment, is just waiting to play out, basically. So we'll go through everything, and obviously you'll see the positions I'm in as well. Anyway, so morning, Day Trader FX. Morning, Evans. Your broker is behind mine for 2.5 minutes. No, your broker is ahead of everyone else in the world for 2.5 minutes. I suggest you talk to your broker if you've got a data. Sounds like you've got a data issue. Mine's spot on. Either that, or you're watching the past. It is a stream. Maybe you're delayed. I don't know. But yeah, not as far as I know. Looks like your wife mastered the art of cutting hair. No, it wasn't my wife. No, definitely not. Position trading with trend trading versus counter trend. There's a video on the website if you want to know the answer to that question. Great love, immortal, venerable. I'm not going to be able to find it now. Go and watch this one. Mean reversion versus trend trading. And oh yeah, there we go. It's mean reversion trading in a trend, how to survive a squeeze. Go and watch those 2 videos. So that one there, and the mean reversion versus trend trading. Morning, Marco. Sam, I don't want to clog your chat with useless dialogue or questions. You are. That's okay, though. I don't know if it's useless yet, because I haven't read it. It's only a stupid question, obviously, if you've asked it before. It's a new question. It's not stupid. But how can traders pinpoint one strategy when it comes to the fact that the market contains hundreds of levels and trend moving P to P, or pip to pip? How can traders pinpoint one strategy? I don't understand the question. There's no, I don't really quite understand the question, but there's no one strategy that works in all market conditions. There's multiple market conditions, yeah? So there's only 3 things that can happen in the market. 3 market conditions, if you like. You've got a range, a trend. Well, it's really only two, really. I mean, it's either range or trend. But there's three ways to trade those two market conditions, which is what I should say. You can trade a breakout, you can trade a trend, or you can trade a mean reversion. Yeah. So if you are a trend trader or a breakout trader, and this is kind of going back to what someone just asked about trend trading and counter trend trading. If you're a mean reversion trader, mean reversion works in all market conditions. Yeah. So if you want one strategy to use all the time, go with a mean reversion strategy. Because in a range, obviously mean reversion works beautifully. Yeah. Best thing you can do. In a breakout like this, mean reversion works beautifully. In a trend, mean reversion works beautifully. Yeah. If you're a trend trader, trend trading does not work in a range. Yeah. If you are a breakout trader, it doesn't work in a range. Yeah. If you're a range trader, it works. Yeah. So if you trade as a mean reversion trader, you can trade in basically any market condition. So any mean reversion strategy will work very, very well. A trend strategy or a breakout strategy will only work in 20 to 30% of market times, because 80% of the time the market spends in mean reversion. Yeah. Going sideways. Especially at the moment in August, in summer months. So if you look at any chart and scroll out on a chart, yeah, you will always find an opportunity for mean reversion. Yeah. If you're a trend trader on an hourly time frame, by the time you'd identified that as a trend, you probably would have only got a tiny bit of it, giving yourself probably no more than a 1.5 to 2 hour return most of the time. So as you can see, the market does this a lot, which is what we call balance, which is where the market is in equilibrium. So it spends 80% of its time in its happy place, where the market is happy to transact at a number of different levels, a range. Yeah, support, resistance. Then every now and again, it will break out for a bit and then go back into a balance again. Yeah. But during those breakouts, market structure forms highs and lows, which gives you mean reversion opportunities as well. So if you become a mean reversion trader and trade something like the RSI, even when the market is trending, yeah, so we're in a range here, yeah, you have an opportunity there, an opportunity there, and when it broke out into its trend, you had an opportunity there, and there, and there, and there. Make money, yeah. Hopefully that's what you mean. If I've misunderstood, I don't know. But you can also run multiple strategies, as I do. So I mean revert position trading, and I also scalp opening range breakouts. So I'm a breakout trader, and I mean revert as well. But the main probably answer to your question is, how do you find one strategy that works? You just remove the stop loss. So every strategy you've ever learned in your life, go and trade it again, but just don't use a stop loss on it and see what impact it has on the results. The only reason you lose money is because you place an order in the market to tell the market to lose you money. You remove that order, you stop losing money. Well, that's all taught in the bootcamp. Right. Hopefully that answers the question. If I didn't understand it, that was a load of waffle. That means nothing. So let's have a quick look at the Dow, the DAX rather, while we're waiting. 15 minutes range is in. So we're just pulling back basically. So there's your breakout propulsion gap. So hopefully that's the move of the morning. In fact, I don't care which way it goes today. We've got very good support resistance up and down today. So it doesn't really matter which way it goes. Just hopefully we go somewhere rather than going sideways. Right. Oh, what am I doing? Can't find the right chart. There we go. Please explain pound New Zealand. We'll get to that one. So Aussie dollar CAD, starting at the top. As you can see, we are completely sideways at the moment. I've got no positions on this at all at the minute. The last position I had was there, which was a long. We've gone into basically multiple small ranges on this. We're contracting at the moment as well. So really waiting for some news. We had a very light news week last week. We've got a very light news week this week. So Wednesday's really the only day we've got news, and that is Euro, Pound, CAD, and US, mainly Euro, Pound, and US. So those three are going to move the market this week on Wednesday. But what we do up until then, difficult to call. So we'll see where we go. But right now, I'd be looking for shorts up in the bottom of this range here. So there's your previous low, which became support. We broke that support, retested it as resistance. So when we test that area again, I'll be looking for shorts. If we get down to last week's low, I'll be looking for longs at ADR. So very easy one today, that one. Down to there, long it, up to there, short it. So ADR hits basically at the minute. Aussie dollar Swiss, very similar situation. So last week's low, looking for a bounce. That's also ADR and Friday's low. So this whole area down here is a good support area. We've got a resistance sort of at these highs up here, which we've already tapped into once. So we got this whole area here where there was a massive news event, which we've tested twice. So you can see the seller's definitely in charge of this one at the minute. We've got a propulsion gap up there to test as well. So this could be the low because we put in a higher low there. So if we put in a higher low there today, obviously, market structure is shifting back to the upside. Whether or not it's actually going to get anywhere remains to be seen. So nothing exciting there either. Aussie dollar yen is in a good spot for a long. So choppy price action on this thing, isn't there? It's worth a shot, isn't it? So yeah, going to go long on the Aussie yen. Try that. Half an ADR is 40. That'll do. But buy stop above the high, basically. So buy stop above that high, basically. We've got the reversal alert in. So if this breaks to the upside today, I'll go with that. Unlikely we're going to get above an ADR today. So I think that's a little bit eager as a TP. I'll leave it in place as I'll go with 1.5. 60. 125 ADR. So yeah, see if we can get a rally up on that one today. So this is a beautiful support resistance bounce on the Aussie yen. Potentially, obviously, it hasn't happened yet, but we've certainly tapped into this propulsion gap. And we are holding these lows at the moment. So lots of wicks formed down at these lows. So every time we get down there, the buyers are stepping in. Whether they continue to step in or not, we'll wait and see. They certainly can't get any momentum to get the thing moving, can they? So although they're not letting it through that level, there's not enough of them to drive it higher at the moment. So we'll see. If it does break, obviously, that's the ultimate target. Back up into these highs. Yeah. So propulsion gap target at 200% ADR. I might as well stick the TP up there. You never know. It might, but highly unlikely. So I'll go with the target. I won't let it run up there. I can tell you that for a fact. It's got to take some news, basically, to drive it up there, because I'm not going to hold it that long. But that's where I expect it to go at some point, but I'll be banking before then. But I'll leave that on, see if we can get that triggered. So potential opportunity there. Aussie, New Zealand. So this is not an ADR today. We've come off of this support resistance area here. So there's your support, turned resistance. Hit it again. So it's holding. The Aussie, New Zealand is very difficult to trade at the moment. The Aussie is weak. The New Zealand is weak because they froze their interest rates. So there's no advantage on either of these. As you can see, it's just nasty range bound activity. You're kind of bang in the middle of this current range at the moment, so there's just nothing there at all. If it gets back down to these lows, sort of ADR 125 ADR, I'd be worried about longing that. I suspect it will probably come back down and test a little bit lower. It might bounce from there, but I'd be much more interested in taking a short from these highs. So that's 200 ADR away. So not going to look at that. It won't have got there by Wednesday. So nothing on that one. Aussie US, I'm long on this at the moment, got 4 positions on. So obviously beginning of the month, I took an H1 M5 mean reversion entry. We literally went sideways for 2 weeks. Yeah. We had a little bit of news which drove it down a little bit, and we're just sitting down here now. So we've been sitting down here now for 3 days. So waiting for some kind of weakness on the US dollar. Difficult to get some strength on the Aussie, but 150 ADR is average, so it's not far away yet. It's in 4 positions. It's hardly in any drawdown. It's in 0.9% of drawdown, so just waiting. This is just the story of the month, isn't it? Just sideways crap, basically. So yeah, long on it at the moment. We're just waiting for a pullback on this drop. Tons of propulsion targets to the upside. I don't think we've got any Aussie news this week. Retail for New Zealand tomorrow. No Aussie at all. So first news impacting this is going to be on Wednesday. So if we get negative PMI figures, that'll give us an exit. But other than that, it's just a case of waiting. CAD Swiss, total sideways mess. We have broken down below that range low. It's bounced back up again though, so potentially back up into those highs, but the range is so tight and so difficult to get anything out of. I mean, to get up to there is 125 ADR. We're not getting ADR moves at the moment. There's no news catalyst for the CAD or the Swiss coming up until Wednesday. So if the market decides to move down towards that monthly low, ADR today, I'd take an ADR long on that one. Other than that, it's a lot more difficult to pick a high on this. You got that area there, which we went into balance and retested it. So either 125 ADR or 150 ADR to the upside for shorts. But I'd much rather long this one down here, I think. There's a good chance we might get a rally on oil this week, which will help the Canadian dollar. So this pullback that we got into the lows that we looked at, we did manage to put a higher high in and a higher low in on Friday. So market structure has now shifted back to the upside. And obviously this morning, as you can see, they've rallied quite hard. So if oil can rally back up and retest that $83, $84 a barrel, we'll get some positive movement on the Canadian dollar. So the CAD Swiss obviously will rally. However, if we get positive PMI figures from the Eurozone on Wednesday, that's going to help the Swiss franc, which is going to drive this back down again. So again, as we know, at the moment, everything is very range bound. So it's whether or not we're going to get the move on the CAD or the Swiss first, is whether we're going to go up or down. So I'd be looking at the lows though. So we've got this previous monthly low. We've got ADR and we've got last week's low, all basically in the same spot. Perfect long opportunity. So lots of good confluence down there. CAD yen, all the yen pairs very, very, very hard at the moment. I'd much rather be short than long, long term, because we've got that intervention hanging over us at the moment with the yen. So I'll whiz through all the yen pairs in one go and we can have a look at them all, but they're all pretty much the same thing. As we know, we've been threatened with intervention again from the Japanese. So if that is going to happen, we want to be shorting everything against the yen because the yen is going to rally hard. So this one obviously has got an obvious high. So I took this one last week. I'm pretty sure the CAD yen was one of those trades in here. Yeah, there you go. So took this one last week. So that was that high bounce. Took short last week. So again, now we've broken that level. If it comes up and retests that propulsion gap at ADR today, so again, ADR, anything that hits ADR at the moment is pretty good mean reversion opportunities or normal trade opportunities, because if you get to ADR, it's had to do something pretty spectacular at the minute because we're just not getting any movement. So if it does manage to get to ADR, I'll be shorting that out of these lows. That's the previous high. We had a little price discovery at the top, failed, tried again, made a new lower high, and we broke to the downside. So the sellers are well and truly in control. If we get back up into these propulsion gaps, be shorting it. If we get all the way back down to 225 ADR this week, which is down at these lows from the previous week, I'll be looking for long opportunities down there. But other than that, I'm only really interested in shorting CAD yen. Swiss yen, same thing. Got out of that on Friday. This area here is an obvious resistance. So that will potentially, there'll be a lot of limit orders. Everyone that's taken this breakout will be trying to add to positions here out of this propulsion gap. So longs at ADR, really. If we do get back up to those highs, I'll be shorting it. But right now it's bang in the middle of where it's expected to bounce from. So could go either way. Euro yen, same thing. Got one short on this at the moment, which is in profit. Target is back down at these lows. Again, news on Wednesday. We could have other news coming before that from Japan, but I don't like or dislike this really at the moment, because obviously we're waiting to see what happens with the US dollar yen, if that's going to break that 145 level and hold it this week. So short on that one at the minute. But pound yen also got shorts on at the moment. Got 3 positions short on this one. Took one off on Friday. If it rallies, I'll add it back and get out again. But if it drops, obviously I'm coming out at 150 ADR, which is these highs. Back in this propulsion, in this area balance, this 4-day range, 3-day range. So looking for a drop on that. New Zealand dollar yen, this one is a lot weaker. So you can see the New Zealand's been a lot weaker than the other yens. It hasn't managed to rally out those highs at all. We've got bearish market structure at the moment on this one. So it's just kind of on its way down. Very hard to pick a spot on this. So that bounce we got out of previous resistance held. So 175 ADR, which is last month's low. That's an area I'll be looking to buy it from, failing that the previous month's low. But where it is right now, it's more of a short. So you can see this low that got broken on Friday. We pushed down, we retested it, they rejected it. They've tried to retest it 4 times, rejected it. And then this morning they tried to push down and it's been rejected. So we're just going sideways at the minute. So we may well push up into that propulsion gap to try and break back to the upside, but there seems to be quite a lot of selling momentum on this at the moment. New Zealand is weak. Yen we could have powering up at any time. So much rather be looking for shorts on it, but it's just so difficult to get into. So if we do break back up, it's about 3/4 of an ADR up into basically Thursday's low. That would be a good looking opportunity for a short. So there's Thursday's low there. Push up and drop down from there potentially, or we might come back up and retest these propulsion gaps again. If we hit ADR, we can revert the ADRs if we get them. And the other one is obviously US dollar yen. So US dollar yen is the gauge for whether or not we're going to get this yen intervention. So we hit the 145 level. We got the intervention, or rather the market collapsed off the back of the threat of intervention. We then tested that 145 last week. We broke above it. We held there for 2 days. Then it tried to rally and didn't manage it. Yeah. So we've tested 145. So we're in a key spot here at this 145 level, which we bounced from again on Friday. So we broke it. We've tested it. We've tried to go higher. Markets rejected it. We've tested it again. So basically, there's a battle going on between the buyers and the sellers at this 145. I'm short at the moment. If we get any negative US dollar movement, news rather, at the moment, then it will collapse. Yeah, the US dollar is not strong at the moment with negative news. So positive news events make very little difference to the US. Negative news events collapse it. So anything negative we have coming out this week, it will drop. If we do get any movement or any threats or shots across the bow from the Japanese this week, the yen will power up. So I think this is a good looking short at the moment. There's an add-on up there at last week's high. So if we do push up there, it's 150 ADR. It's not going to get there in a day, is it? But if we do push up there, I'll be adding another short onto that one, just keeping the average nice and tight. But got 2 positions on it at the moment, short, looking for a pushback down into propulsion. So, but this 145 level, if this breaks, we're off to 150. So if it breaks to the upside, obviously I just need to scale into it as a position trade. But there's no momentum. Yeah, that was the first attempt on 145. We sat there for 2 days, had a go at it, rejected it. 2 days more. So you can see that's last week. Last week's low, last week's high. So the actual range last week was absolutely tiny, 158. So 1.5 ADR last week, or just over 1.8 ADR in an entire week. So it didn't go anywhere. There's no willingness to buy it. There's no real willingness to sell it at the minute. So you've just got to err on the side of caution, the fact that we know that the Japanese are intervening at 145 to 150. So at some point, there's more odds of it collapsing hard and fast than there is of this thing flying through the roof. Saying that, we've got obviously a lot of US dollar news coming. So if the PMI figures come out particularly positive on Wednesday, followed by lower unemployment claims, followed by Powell rallying the market, you know, we could be up at 147 or so on our way to 150 this week, couldn't we? But we'll see. But I don't like the look of it at the minute. Any of the ends. We've just put in a new high, or tried to, just about put in a new high on the DAX. So there's your yens, covered all the yens there. So we're up to the euros. Let me just quickly catch up on the chat. Morning, Neo. You're late again. Morning, Steve. LCM, why are people so lazy? Just study. Stop looking for easy answers. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I guess signing with Forex can pay your back. Yeah. Morning, Jerry. Well, it's a nice quiet chat this morning. Everybody's still half asleep. It is Monday morning. Right, euros. So got short on the euro odd at the moment. Obviously, the Australian dollar is very, very weak. The euro should be stronger than it is. So I don't think there's much advantage in going long or short on the euro at the moment. Lagarde is speaking on Friday. So we've got potential for some kind of forward guidance on Friday from Lagarde. We haven't had any for a while. But the main news obviously is on Wednesday. So we've got the Euro PMI figures on Wednesday. Then we've got to wait for Lagarde on Friday. So if we get positive PMIs, we might actually get some kind of movement on the Euro, but there's not a massive amount of movement on the Euro. It's been very, very, very quiet recently. So as you can see, we're in day 3 sideways after this breakout. The last breakout we had took 4 days to go sideways. The breakout before that, we took 5 days to go sideways. So, you know, it's summer trading. There's no news. So first of all, had that initial entry for a mean reversion back down into propulsion. That didn't work out. Second entry there, average back into that propulsion. That didn't work out. Third entry there. Did manage to get a break even on it down there. And as you can see, I took one off. So took one off down there, expecting it then to pull back and drop. Didn't work out. Added the trade back on again, and got another one on this on Friday. So the average is within an ADR. As you know, not worried about this at all in the slightest. It's very easy to get out of it if the market could just put an ADR move in, which normally we get many, many, many happening a day. And at the moment, it's just not happening, is it? So looking for a push into propulsion. You can see where my target is. That's the original high that we broke. We accumulated around it for 3 days. We pushed up, rejected, retested it, pushed up, got the propulsion move in. So if we move into this propulsion gap, I could take the whole thing off. I've done 3 drawdown controls on it. one profitable trade, so I'm pretty much break even on the whole thing, just waiting and hoping for a move. So I'm hoping we get negative PMIs on Wednesday, and then obviously we can get some movement to the downside on it, but there's no bias either way on it. If you want to get into it and you're not into it, ADR today is a double top on last week's high. Last week's low is all the way down there. So we've got the previous week's high, which is not a particularly great level. It did get respected a little bit, but push back down into a propulsion potentially for longs. So in here, you're probably going to find some buyers stepping in. Whether they can push it or not, I don't know. But I'd wait and see what happens with the news on the euro this week, and see if we get any movement off the news, basically. Euro CAD, you can see obvious levels. So accumulation break, propulsion gap, retest. So they've added to the long, so it's buyer heavy at the moment. But look at this range last week. I mean, it's just not going anywhere. So if we were to get a push out of ADR, I'll be shorting it up there. If we were to get a push out of ADR, I'll be longing it down there. If we can get a move, other than that, sitting and waiting, aren't we? So it's easy. ADR hits. There's your weekly lows, previous week's low, last week's low. There is your previous week's high and last week's high. I wouldn't want to short it there. I want it to be a little bit more extended. It could well bounce from there, but look at the risk reward on this thing. Yeah. So if you got in short here at that high, and you put a quarter or half an ADR stop on it, which is half an ADR is sort of 37. So your stop would be somewhere up there with an entry there. Just to get a 1-to-1 on it, you've got to wait for the market to get all the way back down into these lows. It hasn't moved below those lows in 4 days. So you could be sitting in this for 4 days with a 1-to-1 risk reward, hoping that you might touch that propulsion gap again. It's just not worth bothering with. Forget it. So big push up or a big push down, and then look for an entry off of that. It's not going to happen until either we get movement this week or we get some news on Wednesday that actually moves the market. If we get as expected PMI figures on Wednesday, God help us, we might as well just go on holiday. I am. Euro Swiss, very hard this one because there's loads of different levels. So this could bounce from anywhere. You saw we had that accumulation break there. We tested that area again and it acted as support. We tested it again, acted as support. We tested it again, acted as support. We've just tested it again, acted as support. Market does not want to go back down below that area balance. So I would be happy to long it down there with half an ADR stop on it, because anywhere down here at 125, 150 ADR, if you put half an ADR stop, you're down below that monthly low, got a good chance of getting a bounce off of it. But there's more downward pressure on this than there is upward. Market structure is short. So it's a better short to take. Unfortunately, missed it this morning. Your M5, M15 reversal alert on it this morning was there. So it's already gone. So yeah, that was the entry on this one this morning, was that reversal alert there. So lower high. So potentially you could put in a lower low. If we do put in a lower low, I'll be looking for a long. But right now you kind of missed it. Euro pound. So this one we've got monthly lows coming up. So this area here is last month's low. That's last week's low, which is this area of support. So I've got a long on this already, just the one position, which was taken 3 days ago on Wednesday last week. Can't get in, basically. Somebody just posted Greg Secker into the Telegram group. Is that a new advert? Yeah, it is a new advert. New advert I haven't seen. Look at the eye makeup, Greg. Come on, man. Wear makeup. Yeah, anyway. He's on holiday again with all of his money he's earned from his education courses. Yeah, sorry, throwing me off now. I'll be looking for a low bounce. Again, ADR down here, belong in it. This is holding off of resistance. Yeah, so we got this obvious level of support resistance, which is basically holding. So we bounced, broke it, tested it. If we test that again, there's a chance that we might get forced into a range down here somewhere. If we do test and break that level, we're going to push up. So it's going to be a pullback on that move. So you're looking for a 38 to 50 retracement on that move. That's where my target is basically. I'm just looking to get out below this support here, really. So at the minute, I'm long, but it could go either way. So I'll be longing it down here. Looking for somewhere to short it on a pullback, basically. The pound is a lot stronger than the euro at the moment. So this is really biased to short to the downside. But as you can see, it's just not getting anywhere. Hard. Euro yen we've done. Euro New Zealand, I've got multiple shorts on this, 4 shorts on this at the moment, stuck all last week, literally all last week. We're up at last week's high at the moment. That's a good looking little short opportunity as well. Euro New Zealand. DAX has broken to the upside. What have I got on? Aussie CAD. I can take a Euro New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand, if this is going to hold this high, then I'd be looking for a trade back down into this propulsion gap. Yeah, we've got a big propulsion gap target to the downside there as well. We've got a big propulsion gap target to the downside there. So Euro's not really got any strength. Neither is the New Zealand dollar, though. So this might well break out the highs. If it doesn't, though, I'm going to get in underneath these hourly lows today with 64. Just go 600, which is half an ADR. 8, 9, go 1.5 R basically on it as a short. So I'm just going to put a sell stop underneath this low, just a little bit lower than that low actually. So these lows here, so we've broken to the upside. We've tested that twice. We haven't made any progress to the upside. So there's no upside momentum. There's no downside momentum. We're just sitting holding at the moment at the high. So there's limit orders triggering here. The market's trying to hold it down below last week's high. If it succeeds, we're going to flush back down into these lows. So I'm going to get out down there with 1.5 R. If it breaks to the upside, I'll stop out, but I'm not going to trigger. So if this just goes now, I'm not in. I'm getting in if we have the sellers on side, basically. So dropping down to M15, I'm getting in on the M15 reversal alert. Yeah. So just waiting for market structure to shift and confirm that M pattern that we are seller heavy. When we are, I'm in. So that's Euro New Zealand and Euro US dollars are the last Euro. Sideways for an entire week, 2 weeks. Ever so slight push down and sideways for a week. And a little bit tighter on Thursday and Friday than we have been in previous ranges. Just nothing, not going anywhere at all. So you could try and take a long at last week's low. You could try and short either of those lows, which it's held at twice now. But yeah, somewhere around ADR, maybe. Other than that, I'm just not interested. Nothing's got any strength, and I don't think there's enough news this week really to give anything a 3 ADR push or something over a period of a week. So very hard to pick a long or a short position on this at all. Obviously, if we get any RSI extensions, I'm in. Highly unlikely though, isn't it? And without the news, so Wednesday really, maybe we might get some movement. So nothing on this one at all. Nothing to look at of any excitement at all there. Let me just catch up on the chat. Well, before I do the pounds. Thought leader, are you hedged on the DAX yet? I am today. So plan on the DAX is to get out at 5R. So somewhere around this this sort of area of balance accumulation there from Thursday. So where we're approaching basically. So this propulsion gap really, I'm going to watch the price action there. My target is 5R on the initial range. So which ties in quite nicely with these levels ish. But I'd be very surprised if we get an ADR hit today. There's nothing really, no catalyst really to give us an ADR hit. So if we can get to there, worst case scenario, we could push on to ADR and then obviously get a reaction off of ADR back down into retest this area. In which case, obviously, then that's where I'd get out the shorts. But I'm just watching at the moment and just waiting to see if we get any further movement. But we're coming up to this propulsion gap. So once we get to this propulsion gap, I'm just going to watch and see, because this is the break from Thursday that they continued on Friday. So we might have excuse me, some more selling pressure coming through from this level. So I'm just going to watch price action when we get there, really, and I might just exit manually and then see if we can get pullback. So if we do that kind of movement to the upside, that is where I'm taking off the shorts. So the profit for me will be that. We'll see where it goes. At the moment, I'm just hedged in with a $1,000 loss. So excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Rajiv, morning. Indices pulling back from the latter part of last week. Yeah, we got that propulsion gap on the DAX. Still, can't see it there. So that's the target on the DAX. Obviously, it's not going to go like that. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? But we've been looking at it as a target. So when we got the initial gap down and we pushed, we started looking as a target there, didn't we? We just got a week of sideways and then another week of sideways. And then we broke down last week. So it's pulling back. So this area here, which is just below ADR today, this could act as a resistance today. We might push down further to the downside. So sorry, bear with me 1 sec. Being messaged. Making sure it's nothing exciting and important. Oh, business chat. I love these people that get in touch. If you can see that. I get attacked by these scammers constantly at the moment. I want to buy this item, and then they send you a link with a RAR file, basically, as a virus. Is this item still available in your store? I don't sell any tangible products. Hang on, let me go and check. Yeah, just literally, I must get 2 or 3 of them a day. Just the same bot, basically, spamming me. So yeah, so that could well, if market structures, if we're going to continue this break to the downside, this could literally be all we get before we break back down again. We've kind of tested the monthly lows. We haven't hit them, but we got very, very close, and the market pushed very violently off of it on Friday. So I think we're probably going to try and break back up into this area and then rally. Same with the US indices as well. So if you look at the grand scheme of things, we are just pulling back on a new up leg. And the fact we got that DAX gap to the upside means there is momentum for the market to get there. There's reasons for the market to go long. The NASDAQ's the only one really which has actually properly broken down, but we have only just done that for 1 day last week, and we got a V-shaped recovery on Friday. So it's whether or not this is just now going to do that, and we're going to start the next leg up. Coming out of August into September, typically we will rally into Christmas. So if we're in a normal bull market, which we don't know yet, we'll see. We will see. 4R on the 5-minute range, which is the range that I've taken today. So we're coming up into that propulsion. So just watch this area we're approaching at the minute. See if we get a reaction at the market from the sellers there. If we do, I might well exit those longs. Just looking at the RSI on the pound odd 4 hour. daily, 3-day, weekly, all extended. I wouldn't know. I don't trade any of those time frames. Well, pound odd is long. The Australian dollar's had negative CPI figures. Interest rates are freezing in New Zealand. That whole area of the world is starting to tip back down. Pound, we've still got massively high inflation and at least a 0.5 to 0.7 interest rate rise coming over the next 2 months. So massively bullish pound. So pound odd is a long, but I'm on it right now, funnily enough. There we go. Didn't even look, I was on it. I was looking at the chat. We'll do that one in a sec. If they're doing funded trade, if they're doing funded trading off using their system, then I don't get it. If they're doing funded trading off using their system, then I don't get it. They may as well trade money themselves. They want your easy cash. Okay. I don't know what you mean, Wayne. I don't know who you're talking to. Sorry. That was obviously a conversation I was having a while ago. Right, let's go through the pounds. So pound odd, obviously, as you can see, is an uptrend at the minute on the 4-hour chart. You do not want to be shorting this. If you do short it, you want to be out fairly quick. Obviously, as we said earlier, you can certainly short an uptrend. Yeah, uptrends have pullbacks, so absolutely nothing wrong with me reverting an uptrend. Oh, that Greg Secker idiot. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. I mean, Greg, the way Greg makes money is he obviously sells a course, and during the course that you pay thousands for, he then sells you his software that you then subscribe to. So he's selling you a course, teaching you how to use his software, which gives you signals that you then trade on his brokerage platform, which he takes a commission and a spread from. Very clever man, but absolutely nothing to do with trading. He sells software and education. Yeah. So you can't actually use that on a funded account. You could use the signals his software gives, I guess, and then replicate it on another account, but you can't copy trade because it doesn't work on MT4. So it would be, you'd have to do your own thing, basically. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything. I've never done Greg's courses. I could never afford them. And there's a guy that comes into the live rooms that used to work for him. I can't remember if he comes into the London session or the New York session, but basically he got taught to teach people how to trade. Yeah, so you basically can grab people off the street and give them a load of education and teach them how to deliver that education. So if they're not good traders and experienced traders, and they're teaching you to trade, how on earth do you think that's going to make you money? Just selling education, is it? Selling knowledge. It's like buying a book. You can buy 10 books, read 10 books on trading, you become an expert in trading. You can't trade. You know how, you know all the theory, but yeah, it's like I can do a lot of theory on how to fly a plane. Stick me in a 747 cockpit, we're all going to die. Yeah, you know, it's learning makes you knowledgeable. Doesn't make you a good trader. Listening to Scott Skoman last night, he uses mean reversion on futures using Bollinger Bands and RSI. He enters on over extensions and adds if it goes against him. Which sounds like he's somebody that I've taught, probably, isn't he? Or he's just watched all my stuff and gone, oh, looks good, I'll do that. And now he's just doing his own stuff. Just mean reversion. It's just mean reversion position trading. I don't know. I've never heard of the guy, but I suspect he's profitable because he does what I do. So, which is what the banks do. So, yeah. He's basically, if he's using the RSI, then he's doing exactly what I do, isn't he? He's position trading off of relative strength using mean reversion. But he's incorporated Bollinger Bands. So, and I've said in here before many times, you don't have to use my strategies that I teach in the bootcamp. They're all absolutely fine. But if you want to use any mean reversion strategy, Bollinger Bands are a mean reversion strategy. They measure extension and with the idea of getting in on the mean reversion. So any mean reversion strategy will work with position trading. I don't like Bollinger's because they trigger a lot more often, and you get a lot more false signals. And there is, I suppose it's a little bit like the RSI, but there's many ways to trade Bollinger Bands. So when you're trading Bollinger Band strategies, there's a lot of different ways you can trade them. And it doesn't make a lot of difference, to be honest, but a lot of people will, as soon as you get extended above the Bollinger Band, have a pending below and they'll trigger on that. Other people need a close of the candle above the Bollinger Band, and then they enter on a pending order when it mean reverts back into it, or they enter on an entry back into there, or they just get in. Other people enter when you get a close back below the Bollinger Band. There's no right or wrong. They're different entry methods. But with RSI, the reason you could use Bollinger Bands, and when you get above the Bollinger Band, wait for a market reversal alert. So you're using it the same way as the RSI. But you'll find you'll get a lot more signals on this than you will on the RSI. And I liken this to using stochastics. Stochastics are awful. Bollinger Bands work very well on lower time frames for scalping. Scalping intraday trend movement. But I have tested Bollinger Bands. Wasn't as good as RSI. But I say that, it wasn't as good. It was more profitable, but you got into way more drawdown because you would enter squeezes really early. And that's what I didn't like about it. So horses for courses. It's all similar stuff. If he's trading futures, though, I guess he's intraday. So he's trading M5 charts anyway, or tick charts. So I don't know. I can test it. But the futures market is exactly the same as this market. The candlestick patterns will be the same. So I could build an EA to test Bollinger Band and RSI confirmations. You'd have to send me the strategy and I'll have a look at it. Yeah. Seems like you get along with him. Doesn't teach on YouTube. It was an interview. All right. Risk management would be pretty different on futures. Yeah. So if he's trading futures, he won't be holding overnight. Unless he's got a massive account, you can't position trade futures. I mean, well, you can. You're going to need a lot of money. I mean, if you can imagine getting into a 4-trade position on futures, you'd need a good 50 to 100 grand for one instrument just to hold it overnight. Overnight margin requirements on futures are vast. So he must be intraday position trading, and he'd have to close out end of day. I guess. I don't know. Never heard of him. But anyway, sound odd. Let's carry on with the analysis. But if you want to send me the strategy, I can have a look at it. I can build an EA to test it very easily. So yeah, pound odd. We've got potential for a mean reversion opportunity at the moment, but as you can see, this is just grinding at the minute. So you've got your first 4-hour RSI extension for months, basically, just triggered up here. So we're looking for a pullback, basically, at the moment on this one. The pound odd is along. So you can see, obviously, that big multi-day push that we had off the back of the pound news last week. We've got these propulsion gaps to test. So that would be the trade. Since we had this sort of symmetrical triangle form on Thursday, we didn't go anywhere on Friday. So, and we've gone nowhere so far today. So at the minute, this could actually go in either direction. So I just need to quickly check the DAX. Okay, so propulsion gaps filled. And that was quite a big, strong push into that propulsion gap. Okay, I'm just going to trail both of these orders. I'm just going to move TPs up above ADR. So we've hit the propulsion gap. We obviously got stopped in our tracks there. So either we may find some sellers start to step in at this level and drive us back down, in which case, obviously, I want to get out of the longs. Or we are going to push up. Further and go for that ADR hit to the upside. So moving my targets up. I mean, if we carry on this sort of parabolic move, it's highly unlikely we're going to hit it, but you never know. We could hit it. So I'm just going to let the market take me out of the long. Fairly tight stop on it. We've got a big candle formed there, so we could be finding ourselves sitting in a range now. Within that candlestick, this might turn into a kind of control candle, and we just basically can't break those highs because we've run out of buyers. The sellers are stepping in, but we've still got some to hold us in place. So I'll get taken out on that, and then we'll wait for a pushback down to get out the shorts. So just wanted to watch it because I know we'd hit that. We just saw on the other monitor we hit the propulsion gap. So yeah, pound odd, I've got nothing on this really. I'd be interested in longing it out of here. I doubt very much we're going to get any movement on this until Wednesday. So not decent movement. I mean, we might push, a little bit up or down, but you could try and double top that high. There will be limit orders sitting at last week's high. There always is. And that is ADR today. So that would be a nice little short potentially today. So if you wanted to, you could stick a little alert up there, at that level, and just, if we get there, watch price action, see if you get an M5 reversal alert, and then maybe take a short. Be nicer to take it at ADR as well. But yeah, it's not really going anywhere at the minute. Pound CAD, similar story. So obviously the pound is strong against the Canadian dollar. We've just done all the propulsion gap fills to the upside. So there's nothing but downside propulsion gap fills. We're going to need a strong Canadian dollar. Oil, if it does start to rally, will provide that. So we've got a good chance of pushing down into there. I am watching this high at 125 ADR for a double top off of the previous month's high. There will definitely be limit orders sitting up there. We hit that level very, very hard, and then we came back down. We tested it twice, and then the sellers completely took control. We got the profit take move, and then we've been sideways basically for 3 weeks. So this is just grinding gradually up to retest that level. We'll probably get some kind of reaction up there. Whether it holds or not, don't know. But for longs, obviously you've got that weekly high there. You've got this high here as well, which isn't as good because it's been slammed through a couple of times. But there's tons of propulsion gap targets to the downside on this. Yeah, so we've got no news from Bailey this week. We have got Lagarde speaking on Friday, so we might hear from Bailey, but he's not scheduled to speak. So for the pound this week, we've got the PMIs at 9:30 on Wednesday. Apart from that, there's no other pound news. We've got the Canadian, we've got retail sales for the CAD coming up on Wednesday. But apart from that, there's nothing else there either. So it's all US dollar. So if this US dollar has positive news this week, that's going to rally the Canadian dollar. And as the pound hasn't got any news this week, we could find ourselves sitting all the way back down here by the end of this week. So I'd much rather we got a nice little rally on this before Wednesday and then hopefully get some movement off of it by then. But we'll see. So right at the moment, it's going absolutely nowhere, but I'll be watching that high up there. Pound Swiss, just missed it this morning. Look, this morning was the entry on it. Missed it. So that was the range high bounce. Look. Yeah, bounce, 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 resistance, resistance, resistance. So targets down here. So I'll be looking for long somewhere down there. Missed it though today. Pound yen, we're done. Pound New Zealand. Got 4 shorts on Pound New Zealand at the moment. Just taken one this morning. We had an M5 reversal alert there this morning. That was the initial reversal alert, which was there. And that high. And then we literally, after we put that reversal alert in, we pushed up, we took out the liquidity on that one, and then they've slammed back down from there. So there's your reversal alert and you retest, there's your M pattern. So if this is going to hold as a high, obviously, there's your reversal in. Quite like the look of that as well. But again, we've got no news. There's no reason for this to stop here. There's more reason for it to go like that because we've still got potential upside on the pound, and there's nothing on the New Zealand dollar that means we should be buying it. So I am short on it on the H1M5 mean reversion entry, which started here. We just haven't had the pullback yet. So we've just had kind of 3 legs up on it. So potentially this could be it. We could be at exhaustion, and we're going to start the pullback on this leg. So looking for a 38 to 50% retracement back down here. You can see my target is in that propulsion gap, which is a 38 retracement on the initial move. So just looking for a push back down, basically. That propulsion gap is my target, which is that accumulation break there. So yeah. But I mean, this is literally just waiting for a mean reversion. This could push up for another leg. But if it goes range bound, it's fine as well. If it goes range bound, I don't care. Just come down to here, form a range. I'll be out by then. So just waiting on that. Pound US dollar, same as the euro US dollar, totally sideways for weeks. I'm long on this I've been long on this now. This is the longest trade I've got on. So initial entry was taken on the 19th of July on that H1M5 mean reversion. I had an exit here. I took that off thinking that we were done with the pullback. Pushed back up into those sellers who added and then dropped on news. So we haven't come up and tested this propulsion gap yet. So that's where my target is. But just sitting in it for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, really. If that's the range high and that's the range low, you've been sitting in this for 3 weeks. Just not going anywhere. So I'm long at the moment. Want some negative US dollar. I don't have a problem being long on the pound because we've got 2 more interest rate rises to come. We should get some, well, I say we should get some more bullish movement. We may not get bullish movement, but we certainly shouldn't get bearish movement. So all we're reliant on basically is a weak US dollar to give this a bit of a pop. We're just not getting anything. So yeah, long at the minute. Nice looking opportunity for longs down there. This is your previous support turned resistance. Yeah. So if we do push up into there, there's every chance we might go range bound. So I don't know, just stuck in it at the moment, but it's not going anywhere, is it? Look sideways. Sam, you've mentioned Wednesday a few times now. Is it common projection of 2 days out of the Forex market for the active available trading sessions? What's the significance of the middle of the week? Nothing. That's when the news is. There's no significance in the middle of the week. Just Wednesday's when the news is this week. PMIs. That's all. Okay, stopped out on my longs on the DAX. $2,700. So nice rejection wick out of those highs. So looking for a pullback now. Those. So that's $800. That do I? Okay, so I'm just going to put my stops on the shorts there. So that's a $1,600 loss. So this high from Friday. Friday's high. What is that? It's the low from Thursday. Sorry. So this is. Sorry, no, that's that's that high there. Sorry, where am I? I'm doing brain. Hang on. Sorry, yeah, Thursday's low. I thought it was a low. Previous day's low. So that's Thursday's low, which we came up and resisted 3-4 times. We were not going through that level. Yeah, so that is a very, 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 very strong resistance. We've just completely smashed it this morning. So if we're going to pull back as we are now from that high, so this is the propulsion gap fill. Yeah, so this is where I said likely to find some sellers stepping in. So basically, this high here, which is the previous low, yeah, is likely to be a good area that we're going to find buyers, because this is the accumulation break that we took this morning. So everybody that's long on this, if they want to stay long and drive the market higher, they're going to need to add to their positions to defend that area out of this propulsion gap. So by putting my stops on the shorts in that propulsion gap, I can get out of those shorts if we're going to break long with $1,600 loss. I've got $2,700, so that nets me $1,000 on the morning if we can push down there. Right. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. US dollar yen is bullish. Well done. Good observation. Did you go over oil yet? No, not yet. I'm getting to oil, and we'll get to US dollar yen as well. New Zealand dollar CAD, sideways for the last week. So again, no movement. We are sideways. Range lows is last week's low, which is the low from Thursday. So we are just coming down to this low at the moment. If you look back on the chart, we were looking, and I tried to take a long here, which it just went sideways for the whole week, chopped around that low. We've broken it a couple of times now. However, the market can't get any movement going yet. So we've got lots of upside targets on this, but I don't see any reason for this New Zealand dollar to be strong. And I certainly don't see much reason for the for the Canadian dollar to be weak unless we get a load of weak US news this week. So I think this is still a short. I don't really want to just hit the short button for hitting the short button's sake on it. So it's sideways at the minute. I don't really like a long on it. If we were to push up back into these highs here, i.e. 175 ADR, come and test that propulsion gap maybe in this range, I might look at shorting it down there. But obviously the RSI is flat. The last entry on this one was on Monday last week. That was at H1M5 mean reversion, which I took off on Wednesday. There's nothing going on at the minute. New Zealand dollar Swiss, same thing. Got two positions on this one. We're coming back down towards these lows. So there's entry 1, entry 2. Entry 3 will be when we break these lows. And just wait for some kind of pullback on these moves down. So again, euro weakness. If we get on Wednesday all this weakness off of the eurozone, that's going to weaken the Swiss franc, which will obviously give the New Zealand dollar a chance to rally against the Swissy and the euro. So just wait for news. So not gone anywhere in the last week. I got into it last week on the H1M5 mean reversion entry on the Monday. And we didn't go anywhere all last week. So just in two positions waiting. New Zealand yen we've covered. New Zealand US, same as a New Zealand dollar CAD. Very, very similar pair. Don't trade both really unless you're lowering your exposure. So we're out the lows of the last month. We've used it as resistance multiple times and it's broken down. So again, this whole move here will be reverted at some point, but it's going to be based on US dollar weakness. The New Zealanders haven't changed their interest rates this time round again, which is weak for the New Zealand dollar. When you're ready. So we got that 5.5 rate, same as the US. Their inflation, however, is twice as high as the US, meaning that in theory, we should be looking for more interest rate rises from New Zealand, but they do not want to do it. Their unemployment has just tipped over into positive. So unemployment is going the wrong way, which means they do not want to do that with the interest. They do not put the interest rates up. So New Zealand dollar really bearish and the Aussie dollar really bearish, I think, moving forward now. Neither of them decided to do interest rate rises this time round. And it's the sign of basically getting to kind of stagnation. So Same with the euro. The euro is in a similar sort of situation. So I don't have any real reason to want to long the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. We're just accumulating, dropping, accumulating, dropping. That could well continue to be the case. The only reason this is going to rally this week is if we get negative US dollar news. Nothing really to look at. US dollar CAD, in short on this one, this is an H1 M5 mean reversion from there. So yeah, 2 drawdown controls on this so far. We're just sitting, just managing to grind roughly an ADR, maybe an ADR and a half a week at the minute. So just waiting for a pullback move into that propulsion gap, which is a 50% retracement if it's going to continue with an up leg. You don't know what it's going to do. So you could take a short at the highs, but you're just hoping on a double top. So I'd much rather see some confirmation. We've just had the H1 reversal alert triggered. So that really is now your potential peak formation high. Yeah, so we've just put a low in. So we want to basically put a lower high in and not invalidate that high this week. And then look for short plays, basically. Got 3 positions on this. 125 ADR is my break even because the initial positions are so far apart, because this thing just didn't give an entry on that news day for an ADR and a bit. So it's just a tricky position, but I can't do anything if it's not moving, obviously. So waiting. US dollar Swiss. Missed that one this morning as well. So nice Swiss franc strength this morning across the board. That was the entry this morning. M5 reversal alert, M15 reversal alert. There. So that was your entry this morning. Missed it. And US dollar yen. So somebody's pointed out, obviously that is bullish. We know that. You can see that. Whether or not we're going to get the intervention or not, we'll have to wait and see. So obviously the 145 intervention was the very first intervention we had last year in September, followed by the 150 intervention, and then the second 145 intervention, which obviously drove the yen up. This was the announcement by the Japanese that we are watching this level very closely. If you do not stop selling the yen, we will intervene. And the market went, oh, all right then. And this is our first retest of that 145. So watching the news every morning to see if there's any intervention news from Japan. We did get a little burst last week, and the market has reacted to it. So we're watching this 145 to see if we get the break to the downside. If we do get the break back down to the downside, and this is going to be your high, low, lower high, lower low, there's your reversal alert. So you want to be selling it anywhere up at 100 to 125 ADR at the moment, because that's going to be your M-pan on that next leg down back into propulsion. So yeah, looking good for shorts at the minute. However, if that 145 holds and the US dollar does decide, or the market decides to rally against the yen, we'll be looking at 150 for the next intervention. If we get to that 150 level, look out below. 8 ADR move to the downside or something like that you'll be getting. So you want to be short on it when it happens. So I'm chancing this 145 level, which was the RSI extension from last week. So there you go, US dollar yen. Oil, and we are stuck on our 83 to 85 barrel resistance. So previous support, yeah, turned resistance. Yeah, so this level here, this is the 83 and a half. We've just started that pullback. We haven't quite got the 38 retracement on it yet. Target from Goldman Sachs is 95 a barrel. Previous target before reduction was 107. So we are looking for this market to break long, but that target was put in place in December. And for 6 months, all we've done is that. So it's very, very hard to call it at the moment. I don't think the demand is there for oil anymore. I think OPEC is going to need to readjust its guidance on production levels. So there is a chance this could go absolutely anywhere, oil. But We've pulled back into the 24 and got a nice 24 bounce last week. We looked at that support as a bounce point, which has worked very well, but it is not a 38 retracement on that move. I would like to have seen it back down to 76 or 77-ish, which is basically the bounce off the 72 moving average on the daily. So that is what I would be more interested in longing. But I think it may well, certainly looks like it wants to go from here, doesn't it? In which case, obviously, then we get all that strength coming through on the CAD. But yeah, certainly back up to $85 a barrel, or 84 rather. That's 200 ADR away. So you're not going to be there until later this week, probably on Wednesday for the oil inventories. Let's see. There you go. That's oil. But yeah, we're holding this range high at the minute. But the question is it a 24 double bottom bounce? And are we going to go into a tight range, or are we going to rally up? Or is this basically your peak formation high, this M pattern reversal there, and we're just going to pull back and put in another leg down into here? One of those two things is going to happen. Position yourself accordingly and get out when you can get out, basically. Tough. Very tough oil at the minute. Not an easy one to trade. Let's see what's going on with the DAX. Euro New Zealand's breaking to the upside. I'm just going to cancel that sell stop off. Okay, DAX pulled back. So we are possibly starting another leg up. So we'll see if we form a range here, or whether we're going to try and rally a bit higher today. Certainly a big bullish move there. So this could just be a flag break underway at the moment, in which case it's very difficult to pick a resistance in here. So, you'd be looking at ADR. So what I might try, if we break up to the upside, if we do get up to ADR, what I might try at ADR is averaging into the position at ADR and look to get out at a break even. Or, I don't need a break even. I need anything less than $2.5 grand drawdown, basically, just to get out of the position. Just a shame we got hedged this morning. That was so unfortunate, getting that short on. If you've taken the 5-minute ORB today instead of the pre-market, you are absolutely quids in. So just took the wrong break today. Shouldn't have taken the pre-market. Should have taken the 5-minute ORB. That was one to take. But if we knew that every day, we'd take it, wouldn't we? What is this chart markup called? What do you mean? Sam, you're obviously new in here. There's a load of links going along the bottom of the website. Yeah, so go onto the website. Yeah, there's a, at the top, you will find this link here, Position Trading Handbook. If you click that link, it'll open up a PDF. That PDF gives you all of my content in the right order, yeah, to learn it. So it explains step by step how to go through everything. Yeah, so it's take you about 15-20 hours to go through all of my content on YouTube, which explains everything about what I do and all the important stuff you need to know. Yeah. Do that. Everything will be explained. Right. Done a bit of DD control on something. What have I done DD control on? Euro New Zealand. So scaled out of €1 New Zealand on that rally. At ADR. So we got an ADR. See, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that's an ADR. Look at the size of that broker candle, yeah. So it's not really an ADR. You'll probably get an ADR alert in a minute. But I wouldn't say that is an ADR. It kind of is, but it isn't. If you look at the 5-minute chart, that's a big old, big old broker candle. So it's a gap down basically. So it could be ADR. You might get a little reversal off the highs there. But I've just done a drawdown control basically on that Euro New Zealand. So that is on, that's the initial position from August, beginning of August. So that's a second DD control on that position. So 2/3 out on that one. Average is there. So I'm just looking for a test of the lows this week. Just not going anywhere, is it? It's just not going anywhere. Look at the range last week on this thing. It's just, what did we do? We did 192 off of a 129 ADR. So less than 1.5 ADR in an entire week. You just can't make money if the market doesn't move. Yeah, so just going to do some DD control. By the looks of things at the moment this week, we'll see what happens. But the worst thing about it is I'm not in any drawdown that's considerable. Just can't bank any profit. That's the problem at the moment. The market's just slow grinding, which is just painful to watch. But anyway. Right, that's everything covered this morning. So I shall be watching the DAX. We just put new highs in on the DAX. So there's the original target that I had, which is not far off. So instead of 5R, I've taken a 4R on the range this morning. So yeah, I've got to deal with that short. So it might be a losing morning, but we'll see. Certainly looks as if it might be getting a little tired up here. So we'll see if we can get some kind of rejection off of this level. So we obviously rallied for that 3 times before the market decided it didn't like it. So if the sellers that took control on Friday have got any ammunition left, we should be getting some kind of resistance here. So watch for that kind of movement. But then obviously we're going to get back down into these propulsion gaps potentially and push all the way back up again. So we'll see where we go today, but not looking particularly exciting at the moment, is it? Anybody got anything else I want to discuss? Look at? I've looked at everything. There's only one thing I haven't looked at. I'm going to preempt it. So, obviously with US this week, wrong chart again. With US news and no new US news until Wednesday afternoon this week. We have got US news this week before Wednesday. It's not strictly true. We've got the RMI tomorrow, and home sales, but that doesn't really tend to do anything. So the real news we've got is 245 on Wednesday. So as you can see, we've had this gradual grind on the US dollar, which is still going in this horrible tight downward range. So again, Wednesday, it's going to be related to the news. If we get negative US dollar news on Wednesday, we're going to get that. If we get positive US dollar news, we're going to continue to the downside. We've broken all support levels on gold, the last 2 monthly lows. We have reacted at them, as you would expect, because the limit orders will have triggered, but we've broken down. We put in a new low last week. And we've tested that low today, and the market has bounced off of it pretty damn hard. So I suspect what we might do is try and get into a kind of range until Wednesday down here. But again, it's all news based. So it's either going to go up based on the news or down based on the news. And we haven't got that until 2:30 or 2:45 rather on Wednesday afternoon. So meh on gold at the moment. It's hard to pick a direction on something that's been going sideways for 2 months, obviously, but you are down at range lows. So from a higher time frame perspective, there's 2 areas I see that are going to get a reaction. That area there. So if we can get down 225 ADR to, it's about 250 ADR from where we are today. We're not going to get there today, obviously, but if we get down to this area, this propulsion gap, this week, that might be a nice little long, which will be a pullback on that move there. However, we are at range lows, and we are seeing some buying action starting to come in. Not a lot, because there isn't a lot in it in the market, but push basically to the upside. Pound Swiss ADR. There we go. So pound Swiss, we've got an ADR hit on the pound Swiss. Came down quick, didn't it? Swiss franc on the move today. I'm not quite sure why we got such a strong Swiss franc this morning. Japan's MOF raises the assumed long-term interest rate to 1.5% in 2024 25 from a record low of 1.1. Okay, so that is bullish yen. Iran, US deployment of more troops into the Gulf is provocative. Oh, here we go. Okay. So there's money coming into the Swiss franc. I'm not quite sure whether this is an overreaction to some news we just had, or whether this is just a temporary move or a sell-off, basically. So potential opportunity on the pound Swiss for a long there. So looking at the pound Swiss, we've come off obviously that high. We've got this lovely resistance there, which has turned to support 3 times. So if we can get to this propulsion gap today, yeah, which has been tested twice. So that was our little accumulation break. Added. If we can get back down to there, which is basically Thursday's low, Friday's low, this previous high, this propulsion move, that is where I'd be going. That looks like a beautiful long. So pound Swiss looks like a very, very nice long opportunity today. We're going to need to get a little further down though, so don't want to pending on this yet. Look at the spread on this thing. Got 4 pip spread. So yeah, 125 ADR basically. So I'm going to stick an alert. I'm going to stick an alert there, which is basically that level there. So when we get down to there, I will start looking for reversal alerts on the lower time frames, M5, M15 reversal alerts, and then look to take a long on that today, assuming that these buyers are going to hold this level. They basically couldn't break the highs, and they hit resistance. So this is just a strong reaction to that level. Quite possibly a profit take on this move going on. So if it's going to be a 50% retracement on a new leg up, this is exactly where we want to be buying. Aussie dollar CAD's working well. Well, I say well, it's working. I'm just going to protect. Oh no, I might leave it there. It's only $160. Yeah, so I'm basically going to the lows today. Not a lot, but just trying to get down to those lows. There we go. Highs have held on the DAX. So break of that low, we're open for shorts. Steve, I'll beat you to it. Gold. Right. If nobody's got anything else they want to discuss, look at, talk about, anything like that, then I'll leave it there because I've done everything. That's what the market does to you in the summer. It's one of those months. We know it is August. It always is. It's flat. It's crap. It's just hard to make money. So this week, basically, I'm not expecting huge amounts of movement. The only thing that might upset the apple cart this week is this BRICS summit. So this new all-powerful US dollar beating currency conglomeration, basically. We may have some news coming out of this that really harms the US dollar. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be said in there, but it is on the calendar for a reason, because it is important financial news. It is potentially a new world order of moving our international transactions away from the US dollar. So we'll see. But that's the only thing basically that I can see that might upset the apple cart. Obviously, we've got the never-ending issue with Russia, which at any moment could flare up. US is just prodding a stick in Iran at the moment. China's prodding a stick in Taiwan at the moment. Everybody's prodding a stick in North Korea, who can't prod sticks back because their missiles keep blowing up. But anyway, there's a lot of other stuff going on at the moment, obviously, which can affect the market. But as for normal market movement this week, it's either going to be big, strong moves with big, strong pullbacks based on no volume, no liquidity in the market, or it's going to be tight ranges that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. So it's business as usual this week. Next week, I'm glad I'm off. But I'd like to get as flat as I can this week. So I'm just hoping we get some of these moves undone this week, so that I can get flat on some of this exposure. But if next week is going to be very similar to what we've had over the last couple of weeks, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because I'll look at my laptop every day on holiday and nothing will have moved. So it'll be business as usual. So there's no news to worry about today. We'll just see what happens this afternoon. AZ, would you expect things to start turning around next week? Or is this market going to last into September? No, it won't go into September. It will pick up in September. So the first signs you get, and you've got to be very careful when the market does pick up, especially with ADRs, yeah? So over the last 4 weeks, we've got contracted ADRs, yeah? So these ADR levels that we're looking at here are much, much smaller than normal, yeah? So what you'll suddenly find is you'll get ADRs hit and you'll see 200s, 225s, because it's not really the market moving beyond its normal daily ranges. It's moving beyond the normal daily range of the last 10 days, which is contracted because we've got no movement. So the first signal that summer trading is over is the ADR dash lights up like a Christmas tree and goes nuts. You've got to be very careful taking ADR reversals in September, beginning of September. Second week of September, we've got 10 days of the new volatility in place and everything gets back to normal. So you've got this transition period you kind of go through. But it's just, you can't tell when the market is going to pick up. Technically, the holidays finish next week. So next week is the last week. And then we're into September and it starts to pick up. So, but you can't tell. You never can tell. It's very different. As I said, we looked at the live rooms from last year at the same time. I did 15% last August. So I had a really good August, but I don't know how I did it. It was just, I'm not doing anything different. It's just last August, I think there was just that little bit more movement that managed to bank stuff. I've had loads of opportunities to bank stuff, haven't I? I mean, there's stuff constantly hitting a couple of $100, which I can bank, but there's nothing getting flat overall. It's just, it gives you there you go, have a break even. And then it moves away another half an ADR. And then you wait a week and it comes back and goes, there's a break even. Then it moves away another half an ADR. And you're just sitting there watching your P&L. This P&L, yeah, so I don't know, you could probably go back to the live rooms. Look at what it was 2 weeks ago. Not going to be a lot. August. So if we go back to something like the 2nd of August. If I can find my P&L, there you go. Oh, that's the other one. Oh, where's my P&L? This is going to be a day where I haven't got P&L shown. Right? I'm not going to find it, am I? That's the other account. Anyway, one of these days you'll be able to find a P&L on the right account. And it wasn't much difference. I've been sitting basically in 1.5% to kind of 3-4% for literally 2 weeks. You know, it's just been literally like pulling teeth at the moment. It's just awful. There we go. Look. So this was the 7th of August, no, 9th of August. Look, I was sitting in 0.94 9 days in with 0.21 of drawdown. That went up to like 1.5 the entire week. And managed to bank like, you know, 0.14s, 0.2s. It's just, you can't do anything. Literally, you can't do anything. Hey, look at everybody here. Look, there you are, Steve. Look, Kennelly, Peter. It's all the same people, isn't it? Anyway, you get the point. It's just not going anywhere, is it? One of them months. Let's see what the DAX is up to. We are pausing. Suleiman, hi. Are you on any trade yet? Yes, loads. Lots of trades. Waiting for the market to move. Go and watch the replay. I've done it all basically. Right. I'll be back this afternoon at 2:20 for the New York session. Back on Wednesday morning for Frankfurt. There's no news tomorrow. So if you're not here for this afternoon session at 2:20, tomorrow you haven't really got to worry about news at all. We've got existing home sales in Richmond tomorrow afternoon, but that doesn't really do a lot. We've got the BRICS Summit, which I've got no idea. We haven't had one yet. So I don't know what's going to happen there. We might have some talking heads talking about stuff in press conferences outside, in which case we might get some information leaked that might scare the crap out of the market. I don't know. But other than that, not expecting a massive amount of movement tomorrow. I'll be back on Wednesday before the first news event comes out. So that's your main market mover. So I'm back this afternoon at 2:20. I've done gold, Suleiman, if you want to go and have a look. I don't trade gold, but go and have a look. So yeah, I'll be back this afternoon at 2:20 for the New York session. We'll have a look at what happened with the DAX this morning. And then back Wednesday morning for Frankfurt and Wednesday afternoon for the New York session as well. Okay, so normal times. All right, so anything you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group. Other than that, have a good morning, and I will see you this afternoon. If not, I will see you Wednesday morning. Have a good one.